Right now, you believe you know who you are, your taste in music, your politics, the food you love, the people you keep close, the things that make you you. And if I asked you to describe that person, you could do it in seconds. Now, do something uncomfortable. Pull up a photo of yourself from 10 years ago. Read an old message you sent. Remember what you wore, what you wanted, who you were sure you'd become. And feel that little wave of cringe. Because that person, the one who shares your name, believed they had it all figured out too. They were just as certain as you are right now. And they were wrong about almost everything. So here's the question that should bother you. If the you from 10 years ago was so wrong about who they'd become, why are you so sure you finally arrived? Why does it feel like the changing is over? And this person, today, is the final version. It isn't. And the reason you feel that way has a name. Psychologists call it the end of history illusion. And once you see it, you can't unsee how much of your life is quietly built on top of it. Let's start with the experiment that proved it exists. In January 2013, 3 researchers, Jordi Koidbach, Daniel Gilbert, and Timothy Wilson, published a study in the journal Science. And the scale of it was enormous. They surveyed more than 19,000 people, ranging in age from 18 all the way to 68. The design was simple and a little bit sneaky. They split the question in 2. They asked one group, how much have you changed in the last 10 years? Your personality, your values, your tastes? And they asked another group, the same age, how much do you think you'll change in the next 10 years? If people understood themselves accurately, those 2 numbers should roughly match. A 50-year-old who changed a lot from 40 to 50 should expect to keep changing from 50 to 60, right? But that's not what happened. At every single age, people said the same contradictory thing. They admitted they had changed enormously in the past, and then they predicted they would barely change at all in the future. The teenagers thought they were nearly finished. The grandparents thought they were finished. 18 or 68, everyone believed that they, personally, had just now become the person they would stay. Daniel Gilbert put it in one perfect sentence. He said human beings are works in progress that mistakenly believe they're finished. We can all see the construction behind us. None of us can see the construction ahead. Now you might be thinking, okay, my opinions might drift, but my real tastes, the things I love, those are mine. Those are stable. The same researchers tested exactly that, and they did it with money. Because money doesn't lie about what you really believe. They asked people about their favorite band. Then they ran the trick both directions. They asked, how much would you pay, today, to see the band you loved 10 years ago perform live? And how much would you pay to see your current favorite band perform 10 years from now? People said they'd shell out around $129 to see today's favorite band, a decade from now. But to see the band they'd been obsessed with 10 years ago? Only about 80. That's roughly 60% more for the present love over the past one. Sit with what that means. They were once just as obsessed with that old band. They would have paid anything. But now that love looks small and a little embarrassing, while today's favorite feels permanent, important, worth real money far into the future. Every single one of us is doing this constantly. We treat our current selves as the destination, and every past self as a rough draft. But preferences are the easy part. Here's where it gets unsettling. Because the thing that changes most isn't your taste in music. It's you, your actual personality. For decades, psychologists believed personality was basically set like plaster by age 30. Then, in 2006, a researcher named Brent Roberts pulled together 92 separate long-term studies in a massive analysis in the journal Psychological Bulletin. And the plaster turned out to be what your entire life. People on average become more conscientious as they age, more agreeable, more emotionally stable. Psychologists call it the maturity principle, and it keeps working into your 60s, your 70s, and beyond. The person you'll be at 60 isn't just an older you. In measurable ways, they are a different you. And if you want the most extreme proof ever recorded, it comes from Scotland. In 1947, researchers had teachers rate the personalities of a group of 14-year-old children. things like confidence, perseverance, mood stability, conscientiousness. Then those records sat in a drawer for decades. In 2016, a team led by Matthew Harris tracked down the survivors, now 77 years old, and measured the very same traits again. 63 years. The longest personality study in history. And when they compared the 14-year-old to the 77-year-old, they found almost no connection at all. The stability was close to zero. Think about that. The kid in that 1947 classroom and the elder who showed up in 2016 shared a name. They shared a birth certificate. And, by the numbers, they were practically strangers. That is what a human life actually does to a person. We don't grow into ourselves. We grow through a long line of selves and quietly leave each one behind. So if all of this is true, if the evidence is this overwhelming, why does the illusion feel so real? Why does your brain keep insisting this time you've arrived? There's a beautifully simple answer. Remembering is easy. Imagining is hard. When you look backward, the memories are right there. The haircuts, the heartbreaks, the person you used to be, fully formed, easy to see. But when you try to look forward and imagine how you'll change, you come up mostly blank. And here's the trap. Your brain mistakes that blankness for an answer. It feels the absence of imagined change and quietly concludes that no change is coming. The difficulty of picturing a new you gets mistranslated as proof that there won't be one. And there's a second reason, a quieter one. Believing you're finished is comfortable. If who you are is settled, then your choices are safe. Your beliefs are correct. The ground under your feet is solid. Admitting you'll keep changing means admitting that the things you're certain of today, you may laugh at tomorrow. That's a harder thing to live with. So the mind picks comfort every time. But comfort has a price, and you pay it in the real world. Because we make permanent decisions for a self that won't stay permanent. You get the tattoo for the person you are now. You pick the college major, the career, the whole life path to satisfy a version of you that may not exist in 15 years. You make vows, sign mortgages, build entire futures, all on the assumption that today's wants are forever. And this is where it gets almost cruel. In a series of studies, researcher Hal Hirschfield put people in brain scanners and asked them to think about their future selves. And the scans showed something haunting. When you imagine you, decades from now, your brain lights up the same way it does when you think about a complete stranger. Not you. Someone else. It's why saving for retirement feels like mailing money to a person you'll never meet. The end of history illusion doesn't just blur your past. It turns your own future into a stranger you keep making promises for. Here's something most people never notice. The word personality comes from the Latin persona, and a persona wasn't a person at all. It was the mask that actors wore on the stage in ancient Rome, a face you put on to play a part. So your personality, the thing you're so sure is the permanent, final you, is named, quite literally, after a mask. It feels like your face. It always does. But it's the one you happen to be wearing today. So let's come back to you, to that photo from 10 years ago, and the little cringe it gave you. That cringe is an embarrassment. It's evidence, proof that the person you are right now is not a finished statue, standing complete in a museum. Your clay, still spinning on the wheel, still being shaped by every year you haven't lived yet. For your entire life, you have walked around feeling like you just now become the real you. And every single time, you were standing on the edge of a person you couldn't yet imagine. You will keep changing. The music, the values, the certainties, the face in the mirror, all of it. That isn't a flaw in you. It's the most human thing about you. The only real question is whether you'll spend your life insisting you've finally arrived, or whether you'll be brave enough to leave a little room for the stranger you're about to become. Because they're already on their way, and you won't even feel yourself becoming them. You never do.